family. How's everybody doing? Hello to the members, hello to the folks down in the chat. Almost time for our fireside chat. Tonight's discussion is going to take place and center around mental health. Got some very good information coming up for you guys. I'm going to say a few pieces and then I'm going to be inviting people up on the panel. So get ready, get ready, get ready. It's all about mental health. It's all about, of course, continuing to push and become the best version of your own self. We're going to look at some statistics, some data, and just really wrap our minds around doing what we need to do to be there not only for ourselves, but absolutely be there for our families. Now let's see. Post the background so that you guys can see exactly what we're going to be looking at. Oh no, that's not it. Not that. Okay. Got you some statistics up. We're going to be discussing those, guys. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the love. Now, as I speak, I'm going to be bringing you guys up. I want to kind of set the tone. Use this as an opportunity to get some things off your chest. Use this as an opportunity to continue to create community. Many of us have suffered through various aspects of mental health. I want you to know, number one, you're not alone. Number one, guys, you're not alone. All of us, according to the statistics, not he said, she said, all of us are dealing with certain aspects of mental health. Tonight, my particular conversation is going to center around the two issues that most people deal with the most, right? We want to be effective with our time. And according to data, according to the statistics, it's anxiety and depression. Anxiety and depression. Good afternoon and good evening to all the team members. Good to see you. I'm going to speak for several minutes and then I'm going to be bringing folks up on the panel. But most of our issue center around depression and anxiety. Now, in preparation for this, I listened to several scholars on the subject, mental health professionals, etc. Thank you for those likes. And I heard a very interesting take that I had never quite heard in the way it was put. And simply, the doctor explained it like this. She said that depression is a symptom that the body is literally trying to let you know that something is wrong and there's time for a change. And that rattled around in my head because I was preparing a short list of things that people could do related to flu and cold season. And as I sat there and looked at my notes literally mirrored what she was discussing. To break it down a little further, we know that when we start getting the scratchy throat in the back of the throat, when our nose starts to run, when we feel we're running fever, We know after several experiences with cold and flu season, we know that this means we're probably coming down with some type of sickness. And as I listened to this doctor, she was basically describing depression as that first signal to let you know that you're coming down with something. There are some imbalances in your life. There are some stressors. There are some things going on underneath the surface. And the depression, we tend to think that the depression is the disease. But the way she described it so thoroughly, she said that no, depression rather is a signal letting you know that there's something going on and there's something that needs to be addressed. And I thought that was a fantastic take. Now, if we approach depression from this standpoint, rather than trying to fix the disease of depression and trying to fix the underlying causes of the depression, I feel like people could get a better hold on that which is bothering them. So, looking at the statistics, guys, you can see that 43% of adults reported feeling anxious in 2024 than in 2023. Look at that great jump in terms of anxiousness. 70% of adults were anxious about current events, especially the economy, election, and gun violence. And I want you guys to hang on right there. Read this next note. I'll be right back. So the first thing we can see from our notes, guys, is that if you're suffering with some of these issues, number one, you're not alone. You're not alone. Many are going through the exact same thing. Also, as we forestated, the actual depression is not the issue with so many of us. There are other underlying issues going on that often go unseen and undealt with. And this is why we get in this rut, this cycle of depression, this cycle of anxiety, cycle of losing sleep, etc., which basically snowball the issue. Okay? So the issues that are going on in your life, those are the things that need to be addressed. And for some of us, it's going to take us some time to really work through what's truly bothering us. Why do I say that? Because we as human beings are very resilient. We can take a lot. We can deal with a lot. And a lot of times we've been stuffing stuff for years. We've been dealing with issues for years. And we just keep stuffing this stuff down. People are depending on us. People need us, our jobs, our children, whatever the case may be, your spouse. Whatever the situation is, and you just keep stuffing this stuff down to the point now when you look and turn around and wonder what the issues are, you don't even know what they are because you've just been existing. You've been performing the tasks that you need to perform, and you've had to forget or you've had to bottle these emotions up inside. And these issues have begun to snowball. And then finally what happens is you have some type of breakdown, or you find yourself in the bed for 2 weeks. And now this thing that you were carrying around has now overtaken you. The weight of whatever you're dealing with has taken over your entire life. So first I want to hit you with a few things that are simple, a few things that you can do that doesn't require medication, doesn't even require necessarily a doctor's visit. Because we know, and I've looked at the statistics, over 70% of the folks that are having mental illness issues, according to some of the surveys we've seen, they are the exact people that cannot afford to go to the doctor. Shout out to Just Vicky coming in. They are the people that cannot afford to see a therapist. So it's very, very important, especially those who cannot afford a doctor, who cannot afford a therapist. It's very important that you seek help, even if it's going to be helping yourself, even if that means you're going to have to do the deep dive, you're going to have to do the research, whatever the case may be. Thank you for the gift. If that's what that means, friend, you have to get on the ball and do something about it before your depression overtakes you and doesn't allow you to be successful. So let's look at some of the things that we can do before I bring you up on the panel. Some of the things that we can do that are free. Okay? Self-care at home. Self-care at home. What do we mean by self-care? Exercise is the number one thing on the list. And again, this was put together by a panel of physicians and scholars in this area of expertise. The number one thing they said we can do is exercise. Get moving. They tout the release of endorphins. They tout the overall feeling of well-being as one of the number one things that they suggest you do. Get active. They also say that your sleep is key. You need sleep, friends. And so we know that if we're not sleeping, the mind begins to play tricks on us. We feel tired. We feel less than ourselves. And after weeks of doing this can lead to other additional issues. They also talk about eating well. And again, guys, these are things that we've been practicing on this channel. But to those who are just coming in, those in the chat, etc., eating well is one of the most powerful things you can do to heal yourself. Remember, fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, leafy greens, herbs, etc. These things have nutrients and minerals, key trace minerals that oftentimes we miss in a diet that's filled with processed food, guys. It just does not have it. You won't get it. And if you're going weeks at a time of eating processed food, or say your diet makes up 80% processed food, I can tell you right now, we'll put our last name on it, you're not operating at an optimal level. There are key nutrients that your brain needs that you're missing out on, okay? Now, the fifth thing the doctor gets into, the fourth thing, they said practice gratitude, which is something that we'll see oftentimes brought up in the spiritual realm. To those who read your Bibles, to those who have some type of religious connection, you'll always find, I think out of all the three major religions of the world, all of them have a key component that represents gratitude, friends. We have to have a certain level of appreciation for what we do have and not for the things that we don't have. There's a famous saying that says, comparison is the thief of joy. And unfortunately, in the times we live now, with social media being so prevalent, it's right at the tip of your fingertips. All you have to do is cut your phone on and bam, there you are. And you're being introduced to tens of thousands of people's lives, how they live, etc. And unfortunately, what this often leads to is folks comparing themselves to what they see on social media. In fact, I did a deep dive. You will see with the rise of the use of social media here in this country, depression rates, anxiety rates shoot through the roof. Several percentiles. It's amazing. And the only thing that one can deduce from these findings is that folks are jumping on social media and they're comparing themselves to their neighbors. They're comparing themselves to people who live on the other side of the country. They're comparing their marriages. They're comparing their children. They're comparing what you drive, where you live, all of these things. And these things were something we didn't have to deal with 10, 15 years ago. You didn't know what folks was getting for their birthday or how they were celebrating their wedding or their anniversary, etc. And so what typically happens is folks see things on social media and then they compare it to their own lives. We don't know what's going on in these folks' lives. We don't know if they're in an abusive relationship and that's why she's got all those flowers and candy for her birthday. We don't know. I mean, literally, I could go on and on and on down the list. I'll save you that, right? But just trust me, most of what we see on social media is smoke and mirrors. And so now here we are comparing ourselves to a situation that's not even real. And you're sitting there feeling like you're being left out of the party, the fear of missing out. But I can tell you, friends, I can absolutely tell you without a doubt that in most scenarios, most situations, you're doing better than a lot of the people that you're comparing your life to. It's just they don't show you the bad side. They don't show you the downside. They don't show you what it takes to possess these fine clothes or drive that car, whatever the case may be. You don't know how much they had to sell their soul or how they had to reject their own morals, reject their own sense of purpose in life to get the things that you now are sitting there saying, wow, I wish I had that. I wish I could do that. Yeah, but you don't know what these people went through to get those things. And so again, comparison is the thief of joy. And lastly, the doctors and scholars in this area of expertise say, stay connected, which again, not to blow up this channel, keep knocking on our own door, but that's also a very key component to what we're doing on this channel. You have to stay connected, friends. You cannot allow yourself to get too far into your own head or too far into your own thought without having the balance of people that care about you, who support you, who've been through the same thing you went through, and very quickly can offer you a few words of encouragement that might totally break the lock on your mind and on your emotions at the time. So you need to stay connected. We as human beings, we need other human beings. All this, I don't need nobody. That's not the case, guys. Often when I see people saying this again, why are you telling me, right? If you don't need nobody, why does this require you putting out a video talking about you don't need nobody? What I hear when I see these things, and probably what the physicians hear when they see people doing this, their mind goes right to, that's what's on your mind. So of course, that must be your issue, right? Folks don't get online talking about things that are not bothering them, that are not on their spirit, that are not on their consciousness, right? And so we try to play opposite day online, but in reality, when folks are saying they don't need nobody, that's a cry for help. That's them holding up a false sense of pride and ego, and them basically talking to their own selves, because most of the folks online don't even care. Besides those who are easily persuaded into nonsense, right? Yes, you came into this world by yourself, and yes, you're going to go out of this world by yourself. But guess what, friends? During the journey, we need each other. We need each other for a number of reasons. I'm not even going to go into that, but we definitely need each other. So always stay connected, develop your community. Shout out to, Miss Dunn has been active. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. So yes. All right, and remember, guys, in the chat you can send your friend requests. I'll be glad to friend you right on back. So then let's look at some other things, guys. Relaxation techniques. Relaxation techniques. Again, this is coming from some of the top doctors in the world. Breathing exercises. The number one relaxation technique that is offered up is breathing exercises. Deep, diaphragmatic breathing techniques, guys. Deep breaths, get your body nice, clean oxygen. Exhale, it changes your mood, and the added oxygen to the brain can add, again, a different perspective. Yoga, meditation, music therapy. Again, these are all things that we can do at home. I did this on purpose. Has, again, nothing to do with medication, nothing to do with therapy. Although, again, we suggest therapy is great if you can afford it. But if you cannot afford it, these are 4 things that you can do that are absolutely free that can help change your mood and change what's going on with you. Breathing exercises, yoga, meditation, music therapy, and of course, we've already brought up exercising. All right, now, what are some home remedies one can try? Home remedies, things that you can do to change your situation. The doctor suggests herbal supplements. Remember, our food has been so dumbed down, it has been robbed of the essential nutrients, essential trace nutrients that we need. So I think it is imperative, friends, that you try different supplements, try different herbal supplements in order to find out what your body is missing. Do your research, right? Do your research and try different things just to see what type of response your body gives you. Again, this is key. They also talk about playing games, stimulating the mind. It's so important that your mind stays stimulated, friends. This is another reason why we become stagnant. We become stagnant because our minds are stagnant. Our minds are becoming callous because we're not feeding it anything new. We're not giving it anything to stimulate it, to make it want to grow, to make it want to thrive. So by playing games, playing brain games, or even old school board games with your family, you're keeping your mind stimulated, keeping it loose, keeping your vibrations high. It also talks about reading. I have suggested in the past to folks who have been around me that you need to be learning a new vocabulary word every week. Shout out Particular Chateau. Thank y'all for the likes and the love. You guys need to be all of us need to be learning a new word, a new vocabulary word every week, and introducing that word into our daily speech, into our daily communication. Why? It keeps the mind fresh. And this is another big problem or big issue we're having. Our minds become hardened, calcified, if you will. Parts of the brain are not being stimulated. Learn a new word. Put some new words into your vocabulary. It changes the way you perceive yourself. Everybody wants to be wise. Everybody wants to have a certain level of intellect. And one way you can do that and prove that out to yourself is by reading and learning new words. Then the doctors go in and say, laughing. And I thought to myself, well, how can someone laugh spontaneously? There's several ways you could do it. We have the gift. Most of you guys probably have access to YouTube. Throw on a comedic show of your favorite comedian or your favorite comedian, right? Once a week, throw on your favorite comedian or a favorite comedian and watch an old show that you haven't watched in years. Go back and look at those shows that you once enjoyed. After 3 or 4 years, guys, those jokes, some of them you remember, but there's going to be some jokes in there you completely forgot about. You need to be having some belly laughs, some deep, I'm dead, I'm falling down on the floor, my side hurts kind of laughs, friends. That stimulates brain activity. That releases endorphins, right? And I know sometimes when you're depressed, it's very, very hard to move. But again, guys, that's what you have to do. You have to move or the situation is not going to change itself. It's just like that cold. It's just like that flu. You get the scratching. That's how I know I'm going to get sick. My throat starts itching in the back and I know immediately I got to get the vitamin C in. I have to switch from eating my apples to eating more oranges, eating more grapefruit. I have to break the honey out, put my honey in my tea. I'm not waiting until I start sneezing 8 times a day and blowing my nose 15 times a day, right? I'm going to get right on the issue. Feeding my immune system what it needs. Mama used to say, feed a cold, right? You need to feed yourself when you have a cold. You have to boost your immune system. So sitting back, once I feel that scratch in the back of my throat, if I just sit back and go to sleep, guess what? You go to sleep, you're going to wake up and half the cold is already there. Half the flu is already there because you went to sleep with a weakened immune system. And as you slept, it took over. It started to get a stronghold on you. The same thing happens with depression, guys. Once you start feeling down, once you start feeling a certain kind of way, please don't sit there and let the full attack take place in your life. No, get started, get moving, start praying, start laughing, get active, reach out and call a friend, whatever you have to do. But know that that initial sign of depression is only going to get worse if we don't get moving, if we don't do something about what's going on. So again, laugh. And then finally, they say cry. Cry, cry, cry. Laugh, cry. These are 2 fundamental emotions to humans. Many of you have been carrying a large load for quite some time. You've stuffed things down. You've acted like everything was okay. There's absolutely nothing wrong with you getting in your special place, in your special area, and shedding some tears. Absolutely nothing wrong with it. Release those pent up emotions. Let the water from your eyes flow. Get it out. Get it out. Whatever's bothering you, whatever is hurting you. You lost a loved one. You lost a friend. You lost something that was important to you. To sit around and act like it doesn't hurt and you're not affected by you, it's just a lie, guys. Go ahead and deal with that hurt. Deal with that pain. Release those tears so that you can get past it or help move past it. Get a release, an emotional release, okay? So again, that's just some key stuff. Now I'm going to read to you some statistics that, again, may inform you as to what we're dealing with here, and then I'm going to start bringing people up on the panel. It says in 2024, the World Health Organization, the WHO, over 970 million people globally, or 1 in 8 people, have some type of mental health disorder. 5%, over 5% of the world has reported some type of depression. Worldwide, 284 million people are affected by anxiety. Again, worldwide, over 107 million people reported alcohol abuse issues, followed by drug use and drug abuse at 71 million people worldwide. Bipolar, over 46 million people. Schizophrenia, 20 million people. Eating disorders, 16 million people. As of August 24th, 45% of adults say they believe mental health was one of the biggest health problems in their country. And again, guys, all these percentages have shot through the roof. And one of the key things to this is social media. So you have to make sure that as you take in social media, that you're taking in the right kind of social media. Social media is geared. It's got billions of dollars geared to triggering you. You cannot defeat this stuff. Billions of dollars have been put in to the algorithms behind social media to trigger you, to get a emotional response out of you. Why do they want an emotional response out of you? Because it's the best thing since some of the best addictive stuff on earth, guys. If they can trigger you and hook you and get you to respond, get you angry, get you believing things that perhaps are not even true, then they've just earned another customer. So unfortunately, a lot of the success of social media is tied to getting you angry, to getting you upset, to getting you jealous, to getting you envious of situations. So make sure that when you take in social media, most of it or a good deal of it is geared to health, to mental stability, right? Look at beautiful posts filled with flowers and animals and positivity, compassion being showed, love being showed, right? These things warm the heart, give you a sense of purpose, give you a sense, reinforce positive thoughts that you already have in your soul. Instead of triggering you into anger, into separation or division, or feeling like the world is changing and coming in on you. The world can change, but you should still stay the same. Just because everybody else turns into the hater friends, don't let that change the way you approach things. If you're a kind, considerate, loving individual, you continue to be a kind, loving, considerate individual. Don't allow anybody or any outside influence turn you into a bitter, angry, dismissive person. That will only worsen whatever mental health issues that you're having. So again, I'm not going to talk all night, but I just wanted to share those key components with you. These are things that we can continue to do, continue to work on, things we can do around the house. Double down on that which relaxes you and that which causes you anxiety. If you can, cut it off, because as we see, anxiety is leading the charge in terms of worldwide mental health issues. Okay, I'm gonna bring up just a few more little stats, and then I'm gonna bring you guys up. Let's go right here. Okay, this was the natural remedies. You see that up there. Herbal supplements, playing games, reading, laughing. Practice gratitude, exercise, sleep, eat well, eat healthy meals, stay hydrated, prioritize enough sleep, regular physical activity like walking can improve your mood, practice gratitude, be thankful. Okay, so I just wanted to share that with you. I wanted to double down so that it sticks with you. Again, good afternoon to everybody. I'm finna open up, start bringing folks up. Miss Dawn, Miss Tiffany, Miss Sue, Miss Just Vicky, Miss Peculiar Chateau. Desire to come up, come right on up.
Oh, hey everyone.
You never know when you're gonna come up. All right. Anybody else who wants to come up, just let me know in the chat. I sent you an invite. All right, go ahead and get ready. Miss Dawn, how are you doing this evening?
I'm good, thank you.
Very good. Miss Tiffany, how are you doing this evening?
I'm good.
Fantastic. So, what say you guys? I know Miss Dawn has some experience in this area, as I have on a personal level. I want to open it up to her first if you want to discuss, just your overall situation or things that you're dealing with, etc. If not, just, I just want to open up the floor to you.
I don't mind talking. I just really came out of a really dark space. And a lot of it, I mean, I know the statistics and I know they're professionals and everything, but of course, everybody's different. Because mine really doesn't have to do with society or anything. I don't care what anybody has because I'm non-materialistic. I really could care less. Mine actually comes from, I've been dealing with depression since I was a child. A lot of it came from, verbal and mental and all that, abuse and stuff, and always being heavy set most of my, well, all my life, except for now that I'm working on myself. This is the smallest I've been in a while. But anyways, and now the depression that I had is basically because, as I said, some of you know, almost a couple of years ago when I first moved back to Michigan from Florida, I got really, really sick and almost died. And so my body, I'm not like I used to be. And even though I'm exercising, I'm losing and everything, I'm not where I want to be. So that, and unfortunately, the devil will get inside your head and always give you the negative. And it'll beat you down so far that it's really hard to climb yourself out of that hole. You feel like somebody's taken a dark cloak and thrown it over you. And no matter what you do, I exercise every day. I try to do as much as I can to kind of improve myself. And then I'll look in a mirror, and then sometimes, even though I know I have, I don't see the changes. And then some days I'm like, oh wow, I'm seeing the muscle definition in my legs finally. My legs are smaller than they've been in, I couldn't tell you how long, so, but I'm not where I used to be, like stuck. And I'm hopefully by spring I'll be unstuck. But I'm better. I do take medication, of course, because I've been a depressive person all my life, so, but, and then this family really helps, but I had to reclaim myself. And laughter, like I'll call my baby sister because she deals with depression too. She's actually bipolar. And she is the funniest character that anybody could ever, she always attracts like the misfits. That's what we always tell her. You are like the person that attracts that everybody else doesn't want to be friends with, and she'll attract them and give them the most love. She is a beautiful soul, but boy, that other side of her, if it wasn't for medication, she's something else. But I will call her, and me and her will get to laughing. And we talk to each other, and I think we talked each other out of the depression, to be honest, because she will call me, I can't take this no more. And I deal with chronic pain every single day, and I'm not saying somebody else here doesn't, but I deal with chronic pain every single day. Even though I take my moringa, I take my herbal tea, soursop, everything, but although it's getting better, it is getting better. But sometimes you just get to the point where when is enough? But by God's grace and mercy, He really does help pull me out.
Amen.
So that's my story.
Very good. Very good. And of course, I'm going to come back. But go ahead, Miss Tiff. Let us know where you're at and what's going on with you.
Um, I think it's more anxiety than anything with me. I have been having anxiety since I was young, so they didn't really diagnose me until I got like in my 20s because I was always like kind of scared to be around people, mostly because people would do weird stuff. But I think what it was, I wanted to always like please my parents because it was always you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to do this, and I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I'm not doing what I need that I want to do, that I love to do. I'm doing what they want me to do, and I don't want to do that. I want to be different. I don't want to do what they do. Like my dad has a degree in computers, and he wanted me to go to school for computers. He wanted me to go to school to be a nurse, and I didn't want to do that. I was like, I don't think so. I don't think that's what I want to do. And I think like I got overwhelmed. That's why I got when I got diagnosed in my early 20s because I was trying like working and trying to raise my kids and dealing with my family, and it just all came crashing down, and I had to actually figure out like I got to like make some changes because I don't want to look up and be, you know, down and out or something. But it's just the point. Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's a lot.
Sure. And so you said anxiety, right?
Yeah.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you think your average anxiety is on a normal day?
I'll take medication now. So, and I try to control it too. Now it's better because at first it was worse. It was bad. Like I couldn't leave out the house, or if I lived out the house, I was like in my own world, and I was like not paying attention or something, trying to avoid people. But it's got better though over time.
Very good. Very good. Well, congratulations on that. Real quick before I go further, Miss LaPree, do you want to come up? Miss Just Vicky says, Tiffany, you winning. Miss LaPree, would you like to come up on the panel? And anybody else who would like to come up on the panel and speak on mental health, please do. See my brother coming in the building. We're talking about mental health tonight. Excuse me, guys. If you'd like to come up on the panel, just let me know in the chat. Just say one in the chat and we'll bring you up. Okay, very good. Now, this doesn't have anything to do with anything that was just said, right? Probably about, I don't know, it was probably about 10 years ago. I was watching this documentary and they were following around tribes that had never had any outside contact with the world. And it interests me because as a Christian, we know that one of the tenets to Christianity, of course, is to reach out and touch men with the message of Christ. And so when they were saying they're getting down to the last several tribes that had never had any outside contact, it kind of interested me because it perhaps is a signal. Anyway, long story short, I watched these set of documentaries. It might have been like a 7-part documentary. And one thing that was reported, and these were tribes in all different areas. It was Africa, South America, I believe even Australia, different parts, and little small islands, offshoots from these continents. And one thing that the anthropologists reported is that in these communal areas, these small communities, they reported almost 0% depression, 0% anxiety. And as I was talking earlier, I was saying comparison is the thief of joy because we as humans, we often compare up. But I invite you to think about comparing down, right? These folks had hardly any clothes, no technology, no system of currency that we would think of. But despite the modern day conveniences that would really concern us and really impede our journeys, these folks reported no anxiety, no depression, virtually no mental health issues. And that's unique. That's very unique. And I invite you to think about that, right? That perhaps, and not again, nobody on the panel, nobody necessarily in the chat, but just in your intellect, just consider this, that perhaps the things and the stuff and the conveniences have stripped away certain aspects of our humanity and taken us to a place of pressure and deadlines and responsibilities. Our family units, in most cases, are now fractured when you look at us as Americans and what we're going through. Our families are not as tight knit as they used to be. And many people have replaced a lot of this stuff and they all were happy and got along. Exactly. And many of us have replaced family and friendships with things and with with stuff that offers us no real value in terms of our emotional and mental health. And that was always profound. I've never, out of all the stuff that documentary talked about, and it was hours and hours long. It's probably like a 12-hour set. Okay, I got you, big bro. It never occurred to me that some of the poorest people on the planet, in terms of how Western society views poor, were some of the richest in spirit. For a number of years, I'll share this with you. I'll bring my brother up. For a number of years, I was blessed to feed the homeless. I would go downtown Dallas, and my mother, my sister, several of my nieces and nephews, we would package chicken and other meals sometimes, socks when it was cold, different things to warm them up, different things in the summertime, and we'd feed the homeless. And if you remember, guys, several weeks back, I told you guys that there are key things that we can learn from people who've learned how to survive on the streets that will just blow your mind. And that there may come a day where we actually have to be consulting with homeless people, because they're so much more advanced in terms of making things work and connecting dots and getting what they need. One of the things that I learned from homeless people is that a lot of the things are a state of mind. I met a guy that he's in the middle of downtown Dallas surrounded by buildings, but he swore up and down he was on an island in Hawaii. Because that's where he wanted to be. That's what provided his inspiration. He had convinced himself that he wasn't surrounded by concrete. He was surrounded by green grass and coconut trees, if you will. Go ahead and mute yourself, big bro, before I bring you up. He was surrounded by grass and trees and the wave of the ocean. And if you went into his little basket that he had, a lot of the things that he had around him represented that same vision. What am I saying? I know I'm she says, out of body experience. I've been there. What am I saying? I'm saying that a lot of this is a mental game. And remember, we talked about the Bible and what it had to say about suffering the little children. Jesus reminding us that imagination is such a big part of this spiritual experience. Little children are able to believe in things without seeing it, without touching it, they just believe. And as we get old, that part of our brain literally starts to calcify with some of us. And we're missing out on a big part of life. If you can imagine it, if you can think it, if you can dream it, Miss Debbie said, I saved myself by doing it. Right? You can change the narrative. I've seen it, guys. I've seen the smiles on these people's face. I've seen the giddiness and the lack of concern about the things that you and I would be concerned of. I've touched it. I've watched it. And so keeping that in mind as you go forward, keep that in mind that some of the happiest people in this planet have absolutely nothing. And some of the richest are the most miserable. And so where do we want to align ourselves with? And this is not a discussion about money or none of that. That's not the point. The point is things, right? Imagination. Where do we want to align ourselves with? Do we want to be static and concrete and unable to move, surrounded by whatever our experiences are and whatever surrounds us at the time? Or do we want to have the type of imagination that no matter what our circumstances say, we can self-dictate our own mood? All right? Thanks so much for that. I'm bringing in Brother Lee Dixon, see what he has to say on the subject of mental health. Okay, I have to wait 50. Okay, you're good. Your mic up, Lee?
I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yes, I got you.
Yeah, I was just because when I first told you to put me on, man, I was trying to hit on that when you was talking about the subject of the mental health is when people when you were saying how when you were talking about when people I was going by my own experiences, like, when you have stuff and you don't have stuff. And my own experiences, like, before I got sick, I was so used to like making money and I could do this when I wanted to and do that. And now I have no urgency of time or anything. The only thing I make time for is to make doctor's appointments. All that other time, oh, I got to be at work at 4 in the morning, or I got to do this. And it would overwhelm me. Now I'm not, once I got past the part of not having to worry about that stuff and just worry about stuff that was important, then I could see the difference. But it took a while to get to that point. And that's why I wanted to click in and say, I kind of get what you're saying,
But it was a process.
Oh yeah. Because even me and you talked about it, and you used to tell me, and my sisters would tell me, and my fiance would tell me, everybody would tell me, man, don't worry about it. And I couldn't see how you talking about don't worry about it. That didn't make any sense to me. And then when I finally got to the point to not worry about it, and then I didn't even worry about the time. It didn't make no difference. So whatever God is going to do for you, he does it in his time. So don't worry about the time. And then you'll be so much more relaxed. Like, you notice I've been more relaxed now.
You have.
Every time you talk to me, you say, man, you like, all I got is time. It's you.
Yes.
But it used to just be like that. Yeah, so I fully understand what you're saying when you say people, if you're used to having certain things, and then a lot of that stuff I don't have no more, and it don't matter to me. It don't matter because it's just stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's just stuff. That's all it is.
Definitely. Thank you so much for those comments, my brother. Thank you, and I'm proud of you, man. And as he said, I wanted to key in on what he said. He said it was a process, guys. We have to be patient with ourselves. We cannot help the structure of our minds and the way we think and how we've been raised, right?
Right.
We can't help that. We can't change that. So being patient with yourself gives yourself the grace to change or go into a new level. Again, depression is the symptom. It's not the issue necessarily. The depression is letting you know that there's something underneath that you need to deal with. Just to take, for instance, with the example that Big Bro just brought up, he was becoming overwhelmed. which literally led to a physical sickness and physical issues, which often can. Stress kills. Stress absolutely kills. Stress causes heart attacks. Stress causes palpitations, anxiety. Miss Just Vicky said, and we have to forgive whatever we are upset with about ourselves. So very true. So very true. I heard another creator say it like this that kind of goes to Miss Dawn's point earlier, was that, you've come so far, and sometimes you don't realize how far you've come because your mind is so focused on where you want to be. But some of us have come a mighty, mighty, mighty long way in terms of our physical health, in terms of some of the stuff we used to believe, some of the lies that we accepted as truth. Some of us had low self-esteem. Some of us had too high of an ego, right? Whatever the case may be, both of them are bad. But look at you. You've changed. You've embraced certain truths about your life. And even though it was painful, even though it hurt to get over those certain humps, you had to be humbled. You had to be, had to go through these situations that change you. And sometimes change is very, very bad. But we have to remember, pressure can do one or two things. Either it can bust the pipe or it can create a diamond. And many of you guys have used the pressure of your life and all the things that you had going on to take you from an almost busted pipe or a busted pipe into a diamond. But again, we're so focused on the time we lost. Miss Deb says survived an extremely abusive man. We're so caught up on the time that we lost, on the time that we wasted, as we like to talk about. Well, man, I wasted 10 years, 15, 20 years in this relationship, and that makes us feel a way. We feel like we missed out on something. We feel like we wasted our time. But beloved, it was all a part of the journey. It was all a part of your journey to make you who you are today. And all of us, both men and women, go through these circumstances and situations where we feel like we got the short end of the stick in life. And that can bother you. You can hold that against yourself. You can really internalize this, to Sister Just Vicky's point, and hold grudges against yourself. And like she's saying, you have to forgive yourself. You have to let this stuff go. There's absolutely nothing you can do about it, right? If it was 20 years in that relationship and it took you 20 years to realize that wasn't the relationship for you, thank you so much, Melissa. Appreciate you. And it took you 20 years to realize that relationship was not for you. Guess what? There's certain aspects of that relationship that turn you into the person that you are going to be. And that testimony, that experience that you went through, there are many other people out here who need to hear it. There's somebody that has only been in that situation 5 years. So before they go and waste another 15, you can step in and say, hey, I know this situation. I see the red flags. I was once you. I was optimistic. I was thinking she was going to change. He was going to change. It didn't. Whatever the case may be, let me give you this little bit of advice. This is what I went through. That's why it's so important for us to be transparent. You have to refrain your mindset, and you didn't deserve OT. That's why it's so important that we remain transparent. I'm hurt, right? I'm hurting. Shout out TTJ Business Consultant. God bless you, my sister. I'm hurt. I'm hurting. I've been through. He made a way. See, it's important that we remain transparent in order to help our community, help our family members, help our associates. Because some folk are looking at you and they think you have it all together. But boy, if they really knew the story on you, right? And sometimes situations will occur that will allow you to express yourself to those people. Don't bite your tongue, because even though you're not 100% where you want to be, friends, again, you've come a mighty, mighty long way. You've come further than what you even know. That's why he says, write it, make it plain, because we forget. That's why when he carried the children of Israel through different situations, he said, put down stones to mark these crossings. When you cross over this and cross over that, put down a stone, shout out Cupcake, because he knows our memory are so short. We need to be reminded that if he did it once, he can do it again. Problems in life come up and we get scared, we get intimidated, we get the anxiety takes over, and before you know it, we're a mess. But if you really sat back and think about it, friends, you've been through situations worse than this before. It's just been a while. And now you're comfortable and you don't want to feel that pain. You don't want to feel that hurt, whatever the case may be. But the fact of the matter is, you've been through worse situations in your life before and you made it. So what's going to change about this time? Absolutely nothing, right? Absolutely nothing. But it's important. If there's nothing else I want to get across to anybody who might be listening tonight, it's so important that I believe we switch the narrative. We switch the way we look at depression. We switch the way we look at anxiety. That is not the issue in most cases. Yes, you're depressed, no doubt about that. Yes, you have anxiety and it's real, no doubt about that. But I believe that it's a precursor. It's a signal that there are things in your life that need adjustment, need your attention. And just like that scratchy throat, that runny nose is telling you, hey, you finna come down with a cold. It's time to put your vitamin C game together. It's time that you get the chicken noodle soup out. It's time that you bundle up when you go outside. Make sure your neck is covered. Make sure your head is covered. The same way I believe you need to approach depression and anxiety. Yes, I'm going to treat the depression. I'm going to treat the anxiety. But what's going on that got me to this place? Was I doing too much? Past jobs have caused me anxiety attacks. Amen. Was I doing too much? Did I have too much on my plate? Was I trying to take care of everybody's business but my own? Was I getting enough sleep? Was my diet the way it needed to be? Right? My diet. How am I eating? Am I eating foods that are going to heal me? Or am I eating foods that are literally going to take some of my vitality away? It's going to decrease my healthiness, raise my blood pressure, right? Such a big part of this. Well, how is my brain health? Am I stagnant or am I learning new, interesting things? I think, again, this is a big part of it. A lot of us, and not talking to anybody specifically, guys, but a lot of us, it's all about entertainment. And a lot of the entertainment that we take in are lies. Is somebody sat down at a desk and writing this stuff and making it up. It's not even real. So we know that it can't educate us. We know that it can't empower us because it's a sitcom. It's a movie based on characters that don't exist, that are not real, that are not going to add any value to your life. This is why I believe that documentaries are so important. We have to dive into other cultures. Learn different things, different ways of life. Because when you're sitting there watching another culture and how they do things, how they relate, how they talk with one another, what they eat, how they live, whatever the case may be, you're going to see bits and pieces that you can put to your own life. Like, wow, that's great use of common sense. Look at how they did that. You're learning something that's gonna make your life better, that's gonna add to what you got going on. Not only that, but your mind is stimulated. If we're not learning anything, we're stagnant in the mind. Many of us only using 5 to 10% of our brain power, of our actual capabilities. We got this big old brain up here and we're using it for very little. What else do you think is going to happen, right? It's just like an athlete that can lead the team in scoring. This is a great point, guys. I want you to get this. Thank you, Lord. You got an athlete. You got a Michael Jordan. He can lead the team in scoring. 40 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists a game. But you got him sitting on the bench. How do you think that athlete is going to feel? How do you think that athlete is going to deal with that? He knows he can get in the game and change the game. But instead of changing the game, instead of getting in the game and blowing the opponent's socks off, we got him sitting on the bench where he cannot help us. That athlete is going to be depressed out of his brain. That athlete is going to ask for a trade as soon as season's over. You get what I'm saying, guys? So it's very important that we find, and I know everybody's not, a big book person, or you're not, I get it, right? But all of us need a healthy balance between entertainment and using the TV to learn things that will make your life better, guys. There's all different kinds of stuff out there. You can learn how to save more money. Natural cures. You name it. Different cultures all over the world. I haven't been on a plane in 7, 8 years, but every week I'm in different parts of the world, guys. I've been in China for the last 3 months. I'm in Ukraine right now. Last night I was in Ukraine, in the border of Russia, Kursk, the Black Sea. All these different places. My brother can tell you, he's a big wildlife guy too. Stay on the continent of Africa looking at lions. That's some of the most interesting stuff you can see. And I don't care how many thousands of hours you watch animals, you're always going to learn something and see something different. Just the other day, to give you a very good example, I watched a lioness attack a male lion over a leopard. I've been watching this stuff since I was this tall. I've never seen a female lion protect a leopard with her life going against her own male lion. Typically, they'll attack it together. They have a famous pride of lions. I forget the name right off the top of my head. Another very strange and unique situation, as you guys may or may not know, when the male lion, when his sons reach a certain level of maturity, he typically runs his son off into the bush to create their own family. Well, there's this famous lion, this famous male lion, you can look him up on YouTube, that actually allowed his 5 sons to stick around, and he let them become adults right under his own nose. And the reason why is because he had so much competition from other prides, he didn't want to let his sons leave. So even animals are changing and adapting to nature and to their environment and what's going on around them, guys. You'd be shocked what you can learn.
That is so true. The animals are adapting, as you can see, like the birds and everything. I have been noticing a lot of things about the animals and the birds and stuff. They are adapting and they're responding too. That's crazy part because I had my son outside, my youngest son, my 6-year-old, and it was a blue jay outside. It flew away, so I said, "Just tell him to come back." He was like, "Can you please come back?" And the bird came back and just did a little dance and flew off. I was like, okay. But yeah,
Smart.
that's definitely true.
They are smart.
It's COVID.
Please embrace this stuff. I've told you guys before, and I let Brother Lee chime back in. I've told you guys before, economists taught me the macronomics to understanding the economy. Y'all would be shocked if you knew what grade I finished. Y'all would be absolutely shocked if you knew what grade I finished. Economists, listening to economists for the last 15 years, these guys have given me an education that you probably have to pay $60,000 or more for in somebody's schoolhouse. Economists, I'm gonna tell you guys again, economists are like financial prophets. Some of the people I've listened to told me, have been telling people what was gonna happen 3, 4, 5 years in advance. And this stuff has come to pass. Right? We used to listen to Dave Ramsey back in like 2003, 2004. Now he's big. Have the day you deserve, right? But it's listening to these types of people that put so much fat on your brain that it rewires how you approach life. It literally rewires how you approach life. And if your brain is in the process of being rewired because you're accepting and taking in so much new information and applying it to your life, guess what? It's very hard to be. It's very hard to be depressed in that moment. It's very hard to be depressed when your mind is on a mental roller coaster of new information, new thoughts, new different things that can make you a better person, a more well-rounded person. Come on, talk to us, Brother Lee.
I don't know. I was just messing with y'all. I was talking about the animals. I said, yeah, that's COVID. That's why they different.
Okay. Oh, COVID. Listen, did free get out of here? I can't believe that.
Them animals got COVID, man. But yeah, all them serious, you see, I drive a truck. When I used to go out to a certain spot, one of them red cardinals, he would fly up to my truck. All the trucks in line, he fly up to my truck. And if you go on YouTube, I filmed it. I videoed him fighting himself in the mirror. Every time I came up there, it was a trip. So, I said, the only thing I could say, I said, man, this must be a COVID bird. So they are changing, they're changing. And like what you call it, Miss Tiffany said, they're adapting, man, to what they got to do in their world. And so, it just is what it is. And it is true. I seen that episode when the lion wouldn't let I seen one time when she had an antelope or something and she wouldn't kill it. So it was crazy. So everything's gonna be different. So that's all I wanted to say.
100. Thank you so much. Hey, Miss Golden Angel, how are you doing this evening?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, we are doing fantastic. Sitting here discussing with the family, talking about mental health. What do you have to add to the subject? It can be personal things you have went through or things that, ways you've repaired yourself or was able to keep going. It can be a testimony or just your thoughts, your overall thoughts on the subject.
Well, I've had my share of mental health issues. And 2020 was my year. That was my year to take care of myself, and now I'm like 100%, well, maybe 90% like all better mentally.
Fantastic.
I bet I grew up with issues like, and then my whole life I had like mental health issues. But 2020, I was able to just focus on me because I never, we didn't leave our house. So, you know, that was the best year for me.
Is that right?
Yes.
So, I mean, was it because of COVID where you had to deal with it, or?
Well, it was because I didn't have to deal with any outside world. I just had to deal with my own little world inside my house.
So you looked inward.
Yeah. And took the time to, meditate every day and, read books that were healing books, and just take care of myself.
So sounds like in all that time, that free space, you were able to look inward, process it to a certain degree, process what was bothering you, and then you were able to lay it out.
Yes.
Again,
Yeah.
guys, we see that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was going to say that's pretty much, took care of, financially, like everything became better that year.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So glad to hear that. Shout out to On the Floor Marketing. If you'd like to come up, just put a 1 in the chat for me. Yes. Again, guys, we see the same examples coming up over and over. Timing, the ability to process the underlying issue. We can't say that enough. So many times we're looking at the depression or the anxiety or whatever you're acting out, and we're saying that's the issue. No, it's not. There is something under that that's causing you to be in the state you're in. And when we have time to process that and really think of what the issue is, then we can start doing something about it. And she mentioned the same things. Miss Golden Angel mentioned the same things that was on our list: meditation, reading. Meditation, reading. Meditating to settle and calm the nerves and do a deep reset, and reading to stimulate the mind. But I don't think you'll find a person who's dealt with these issues who said, you know what? I was depressed at like a 7 or 8. My anxiety was like a 7 or 8 every day. And I just woke up one day and it was gone. Or I just laid down in bed. I was crying my eyes out, or whatever the case may be. And I stayed in bed for 3 days and I woke up and it was over with. No, ma'am, no, sir. Again, hate to bring it up again, but similar to the person that's coming down with the flu or the cold, it's not going to go away on its own. If we don't do anything about it, the whole cold is going to run its course in our body. The whole flu, whatever it is, 14, 15, 16 days is going to run its course because we didn't do anything related to our immune system. We didn't do anything to take more nutrients, vitamin C. We didn't do anything. We just sat back and let it do what it was going to do. And it ends up being worse. So shout out to Golden Angel for being able to address that and get better. And
I had to. I was at a 10. 10. Is that like the worst you can get? I was at a 10. Like I was very close to not being here anymore. Like very close. Like, so when COVID happened, that was like my 2 dogs actually got hit by a car that day that we started working from home. So that was terrible. But I mean, and we cried, me and my son, we cried for like 6 months, but And we still cry when we think about our dogs because we love them so much. But that whole year was just about, and plus, well, even to 2021 was, pretty much just dealing with myself and making myself better.
Yes. Very
And I'm
good.
just saying, finances can definitely drive you to the edge. Like,
Yes.
absolutely 100% drive you to the edge.
Yes. Yes. We talked about that earlier. Yes, it can. Definitely can.
Sorry, I didn't join earlier. My daughter was here with my grandbaby.
No, no, no. It's always grandbabies come first on this channel, Miss Golden Angel. They come first. All right, guys. Well, thank you again for those comments. Now we're for the change. We're for the hit the corner, make a right quick before it gets too late in the night. I want to talk about a subject I know very well, and it also has to do with depression and that type of thing. I want to talk quickly about bereavement, what it means to lose someone, the impact that it can have on your life, and what are some of the things that we can do to move past it, right? Because many of our loved ones, especially those who truly loved us, they would not want us to be in a situation where we were handicapped emotionally or in a deep state of pain related to their loss. Many of these people would want us to go on to celebrate life, to live life in its fullest, and to really be able to cherish life even after they're gone. And this is an issue we deal with too. Like, so depression is one thing, right? That's a symptom of underlying things going on. I believe that losing somebody and being in a deep state of grief, that's a separate subject, if you will. And again, I know this well. I lost my father at the age of 10, like I think 4 days after my 10th birthday. And you guys know that I recently lost my mother back in 2023. So the thing about it is, those are two separate scenarios in my head, right? Losing someone as a child is a totally different situation than losing someone as an adult. As a child, and I'm bringing this up so we can get to the heart of the issue. As a child, you really don't understand death yet. You don't understand the finality of death. So people could talk about death till they blue in the face, but until you experience somebody that has been there for you or with you, and then they're really, really not coming back, it's something that really has to set in. And I think it might have been it probably took me till I was like 12 to really truly understand the concept of death. I mean, even when you're an adult, when you have someone that you call a lot or talk to a lot, it takes you months to accept that, I mean, you pick up the phone and try to call that person 6 months after they pass away. It's a mental thing. So as a child, it's 10 times as worse because you really cannot accept the concept of what death truly means. And so there's things about it that get better, and there's things about it that get worse in terms of whether you're an adult or whether you're a child, right? But one thing that I didn't have as a child that I have now is that we have certain tools. We have certain tools that we can use. Number one, we know that our loved ones who have transitioned want the best for you. Can we all agree to that?
Yes.
If your loved one has transitioned and loved you, these people want the best for you. Okay? That's number one. Let that be your platform. Because everything else is going to come at you here and come at you there and play with your mind and try to trick you. Your base is your loved one wants the best for you. Number two is that as an adult, there's ways that we can channel our grief. We have tools now. I have tools now as an adult in grief that I didn't have as a child, that were unavailable to me as a child. Now I know that I can channel my grief into positive things. So I can take that same energy of the loss, I can take the same energy of that missing part in my heart and take that emotion, flip it, and channel it into something positive that becomes rewarding to me. And that's the reason why we're together now tonight. That was the central emotion that became life to this group. The grief was channeled into putting together a group where we could help one another, where I could motivate you guys, where I could bring to bear, bring to the fore what I learned about health and what I've learned about people getting older, what I've learned about heart disease, congestive heart failure, all these different things. And I can warn you some days, I can encourage you on other days, and other days I can just help you stay active, keep you moving, keep you keep the vitality where it needs to be. So again, guys, we can channel our grief and our loss. Ooh, I know it hurts. I know for those who are suffering, who've lost their husbands, lost a parent, God forbid if anybody's lost a child on the live right now, I know that the pain is truly palpable. You can feel it, you can touch it, you can taste the pain. But I want to suggest to you that same energy, that force that's behind your tears in that loss can be channeled in the ways that make life a better place. Because again, remember what your baseline is. Your baseline is that your loved one loves you and wants the best for you. That's the beautiful part about it. Nobody goes to the grave and wants their loved one sitting around wasting away in their grief. So if we truly want to honor their legacy, if we truly want to honor their memory, remember that. Remember, these folks want to see you happy. These folks want to see you living a joyful life. So we take the grief that we're dealing with and we think about what was their legacy about? What did they like doing? What is an aspect of their life that you would like to share with other people? And it doesn't have to be something taxing on you. It doesn't have to be something that takes a whole lot of time out of your day. It doesn't have to cost you anything. It can be absolutely free, right? But it's just a way to keep you involved, to keep you engaged in this thing called life. And instead of, being depressed about the loss, hurt about the loss, and losing a number of years because you're hurting over this loss that you've suffered, this can be a way that allows you to get back up again, gets you back on your bicycle, gets you running again, gets you engaged in what's going on around you, helping others. Because their legacy did not stop when they went into the ground, guys. What they meant to you and what the tenets of their personality, it didn't stop when they transitioned. Those things are true. That's why we have to have a certain code, a certain moral fabric to our lives, because those things continue on far after we're gone, guys. Far after I'm gone, this thing called life and this world keeps spinning, It's certain of my children are going to continue this legacy that I have started, that is part of the tenets of my life. Being a giver, being a lover, being a peacemaker. Those things are going to continue. I'm seeing it already. So the same thing with my mom and what she represents. Same thing with my father and what he represented. Those things are still being highlighted and uplifted, guys. And so to those who are suffering there, because again, that bereavement is a different thing from just your normal depression. And I'm not talking necessarily about the clinical side because it's just a matter of all you're talking about is time there. You can be depressed for a week, and if you snap out of it, you're good. If you're depressed for 3 months or 6 months, now we're talking about clinical depression, and that's a whole nother vibe, right? But all of it falls under the window of it's a symptom of something else going on. We just have to sit down, like Golden Angel said, have the time enough. Some of us haven't even had enough time to process why. Similar to when I was 10, I didn't know what was going on with me emotionally. I swallowed it. I didn't cry. I didn't process his death until I was like 19 years old. Because then you start thinking about once you hit adulthood, now there's all these questions that you have, and now you want to reach out and talk to him in a different way, and he's not there, and then it starts to really sink in. And a lot of you guys went through the same thing. You were in so much shock when it initially happened that you haven't even processed the hurt, the pain, the loss, whatever the case may be. You haven't processed it yet. And we just keep putting life on top of the issue, and before you know it, you don't even know why you feel like the way you feel, because it's deep, deep, deep layers down. And it's going to take some time to get down underneath all these layers to get to really the source of the issue. So, anybody on the panel want to talk about a loss that they've suffered in terms of a friend or a close family member and how you got past that?
I will say, is people tell me I talk too much, but sometimes
Please
I
do.
like talking.
Please do.
My best friend took her life, it's been 7 years. Actually, it's almost been 8 years now. And it took me a long time to be okay because she was my person. I think everybody has like a person in their life that knows them more than anybody else.
Yes.
And she was my person. Like, she was my memory. She had memory because we've been best friends for over 30 years. And so when she did that, I was really sad and I was really mad, and it took me a long time to get over that and then be okay with it, be okay with her not being here. And there have been times where I've been so excited about something and I just wanted to go and tell her. And then if in a split second, I want to run and tell her. And then I remember she's not here anymore. So I can't go tell her,
Yep.
but she was my person. She's the person that was always there for me. And so that was hard. And it's been 8 years, and sometimes it's still hard.
Yeah. Very good.
So
So, not
I was there with my dad when he had passed, when he was in hospice. And that probably was the hardest thing. And it tore me up because I was actually right next to him. And he was actually telling me that he loved me. And I was telling him I loved him. And so then he passed. And that was the hardest thing. But I don't know if people believe in spirits, and that's neither here nor there. I know what my experience was. And what really helped me with his death was when I was sleeping, and I swear it was like it was really happening. He was right next to me, and he had two like patches on his back. And I was like, "Why did you leave?" And he goes, "I had other things to do." And I said, "What are those things on your back?" He goes, "Don't worry about it." He goes, "I have other things. I'm okay, but I have other things I need to do." And from that point, I mean, it's been 10 years, and I still think about him here and there because he was a fisherman, and I have lots of pictures of him and old pictures and all that. So I have good memories. I have great memories growing up as a child with my dad. So I always bring those up when I start getting a little bit down. But when he came to me, and a lot of people say that their spirits will come to you in your dreams because that's when you're more open to them. And that's just like I said. I mean, that's my belief. I'm not going to put it on anybody else, but so that made it easy. It made it easier, and even I'll miss like his little silly dances and stuff like that. And I've been dreaming about him a lot lately. Like he's been in my dreams, like crazy dreams, but he's been in them like a lot, and especially during my depression, which was really crazy. So like, why is he like coming to me? But now that I think about it, like you said, our loved ones that have gone on don't want to see us fail. So he's probably saying, Dawn, he always told me, get your ass up, pull on your big boy, your big girl panties and keep moving. So yeah.
Amen. Amen. See, yeah, I needed that laugh. Very good. You needed it too. Yep.
Yeah, I did, because he was a comical person. He was a truck driver, and some of the stuff he came up with, but yeah, he always told us, put on your, and he had 4 girls, bless his heart.
Wow.
And he always told us girls, pull up your big girl panties and, just pick yourself up, dust yourself off, pull up your big girl panties and keep going forward. So that kind of helps bring me out to, when I get depressed, and I think that's why he's been in my dreams, kind of pushing me like, Dawn, put on your big girl panties. You're making moves. Keep moving. So,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yeah. Good job. Good deal. Good deal.
Hey, bro.
Uh-huh.
Hey, can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I was gonna say, mama, me and you brothers, so we lost mama and daddy, and I still really ain't all the way over mama because it's only been a year, and dad, really kind of helped me. I remember, hey, Miss Don, I also am a truck driver. I drove for like 30 years over the road, and one day I was driving down the road. I looked over in the passenger seat. My dad was sitting there. I could see him plain as day. He didn't say nothing to me. I didn't say nothing to him. And I looked back out the front of the window and looked back, and he was gone. I never seen him again after that.
Oh,
But
wow.
it was like that was like him telling me, I'm watching over you. And me and him were like best friends, although he was my dad. And then, Billy was young, and he would ask me a whole lot of questions because I was an adult when Daddy died, and Billy was young, and he would ask me a whole bunch of questions constantly, all the time. Anytime he seen me, because like I said, I drove trucks and I was always over the road. But every time he see me, he said, "Am I gonna look like Daddy? Am I gonna have hair on my face like Daddy?" He just asked me stuff all the time. I was like, "Yeah. You look like him now, but he could, he was a kid." So that kind of like let me know that it's okay. It's like my dad was coming through him to me, and to me, my little brother looks a lot like him. So it's like now I'm the old one and my dad is the kid. But our mom, she just passed, what was it, December the 3rd last year. Uh no, 20, it was 23, right, Billy? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was 23, and I'm not I don't know. Just I don't even really know how to feel about that because I talk to Mama every day, and I think it was 1 or 2 days ago, Billy. I almost called Mama on the phone.
See? Yeah.
just picked up the phone, and I pulled up her number. I pulled up her name and everything because I got Mama on my phone. I still got her number on my phone. So, but I didn't dial because reality hit me at the last second. Like, man, you know what? Mama got that heaven phone, and I don't have them kind of minutes. So,
Yeah.
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 But that's pretty much what I wanted to say on that subject.
Very good. Very
Yeah.
good. And thank all of you for your input on that subject. I know that it's difficult to speak sometimes, especially in an open setting like so. But I think that it's one of the most powerful things that we can do is take control of that situation. And instead of it having control over you, you take control over it. Practice pragmatic optimism, meaning look at the bright side of it, look at the positive of it, whatever the situation may be. Pull out the positive of it, highlight the positive side of it, and take control of the narrative. Don't be a victim in that scenario. It's nothing personal. I know a lot of times we look at death and the person that has transitioned and it feels personal. It feels like somebody has done something to me because that's the way we are. When we feel pain, it typically is coming because something's been done. Um, and our natural response is to say, who's responsible for this? You know what I mean? Whose fault is it that I'm feeling this type of pain? But unfortunately, when our loved ones and friends transition, it's nothing personal. It's a part of life. And we need to take full control of our emotions over it and continue to open up and talk about it and see what we can learn, not only from our own situation, but of course, listening to our friends, listening to our circle of support, and seeing how those people can support us. Because one thing I have learned about uh, loss and grieving and things of this nature is that it can always be worse. It can always be worse. Shout out Miss Jody in the building. Uh, you know, we've seen it, you've seen it just like me. There have been people that have lost 2 or 3 family members in one day. I'm watching a channel called Pilot Debriefing. I watch this guy so much, and my brother tell you, I don't even like to fly, but at this point, I think I could fly a plane because I watch this guy and watch. He puts up flight simulators, and he's talking to you about the mistakes the pilots have made. And I've watched so many hours of this at this point that I think if I was in an emergency situation, I could definitely fly in the air. Now, landing is a different thing. Taking off is a different thing. Uh, but in a lot of these flights, guys, especially these Cessnas and small passenger airplanes, when they go down, everybody on the plane loses their life, and they're typically family members. So just imagine getting the call that you've lost 4 family members in one day. How can you? I mean, how do you process that? Go back to World War One, World War Two, especially in World War One. There was a significant amount of mothers that lost more than 2 sons in one war. In fact, we have a monument here in the middle of town, downtown, and there's two. No, I think there's 3 sets of brothers on this monument.
Yep.
And you'll see it. Their last names are all the same together. I think there's 2 or 3 in World War One, and I think there's it's It's several. Matter of fact, it might be
Yeah,
five
you
sets
showed
of
it to
brothers
me when
on
I
some
was
of
up
these
there.
walls, guys. You say something, brother?
Yeah, I was just saying, yeah, you showed it to me when we went walking around and looked at all the monuments that day. You know,
Yeah.
it was a couple of brothers, from one family in different wars and stuff. And that's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing. So to think about getting the call that you've lost two children within a period of a couple years, man, I mean, it just that takes it to an all new level. And again, you know, grief is grief, right? When you lose somebody you love, you ain't trying to hear that somebody has lost more than you. I get it, and by no way am I trying to compare. But I'm just asking those who might still be in the grips of the grief. I'm just asking you to consider. And to the point we made earlier, don't compare up, compare down. Always compare worse. That will give you a more proper and more realistic comparison than comparing yourself to a situation that's better, because there's so many more situations that we typically don't see or don't pay attention to that are absolutely worse.
You're right, because what helps me to get out of depression too is if I see people, even children, that are going through worse things that I'm going through. They haven't even gotten a chance to get to where I am. I'm 61, and it's amazing, and that really helps to bring me out of depression. If I see, like you said, if you see something that where somebody's, worse off than you are, or, they're dealing with something, or anybody that has a disease or anything. So that really helps bring me out of depression, because I look at them, I'm sitting here crying, boo-hooing in the darkness, and these people have the best spirits, especially children that are dealing with cancer, that they're smiling and they're dealing with it. So, yeah, I just wanted to add that.
Very good
You
point.
know, speaking about children with cancer, my daughter in 2020, she was 12. She passed from brain cancer. And this little girl had the heart of gold and the strength of, I'm saying, the strongest men in the world. And this baby changed my whole outlook on a whole lot of things. So I don't get depressed anymore. It's more of, I look at things of what can I do that can help someone else through their situation. Because even though she was going through what she was going through, she told them, cover my skin up, because I don't want my mom to see my skin like that, because she's not going to be able to handle it. And I'm like, what you mean? So when I pulled the cover back, it was like her skin, it was like, it was so, it was like stretch marks and things. And they told me, pulled me out the room, and they told me her skin is breaking down, and just different little things. And I had to put on my game face and act like it didn't bother me. But then I also had to ask God to forgive me for my selfishness, because every time I asked him to keep her here, he made a way. And even at that time, I lost about 10 family members, several brothers and a couple of sisters and nieces. They all was going through cancer, but different types of cancer. And they all was in the hospital around the same time. And it just made me a stronger person, because every time God saved my baby, it's like right after she made it through the emergency surgery, I get a call, my sister passed. Or she have another emergency surgery, I get a call, my brother passed. She going through emergency surgery for this. I get a call right after she didn't cleared, my niece passed. And it just kept going on and on till it was like 10 in 2020. But I realized that we only here for a short period of time just to experience life on earth. So it's not what we here to serve a purpose, and the purpose is to help others, to feed our body with the word, get the knowledge that we need to know how to accept God, how to live in and work for him, not just to be the stewardess of his children, but also to continue. I left my job after 22 years of transportation. I left my job and started working at a child care facility. And I feel like I'm doing God's work because I'm still being a stewardess over his children and
Yes.
giving them something that they might not be getting at home, but I know that I'm doing his work. So my time here won't be in vain because I know the whole time I was here, I'm doing God's work. I just
Yeah.
want to share that with you guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And that's a familiar refrain, guys, because I've heard that several times. I was in the store just a couple of days ago, and the guy was talking to the clerk, naming off the people he lost in 2020. And I think he said they lost between 10 and 12 people in the year 2020. So 2020 was a very hard year in terms of people losing a bunch of family members at one time. I wanted to sneak this in before we open it up for anybody else that wants to say anything. If your loved one faced death with a certain amount of class and dignity, you owe them something. You owe them something. It's probably one of the most scariest things you could do is to face the unknown. Face something that you don't know what's going to happen. And I know folks die in faith, and that's great, but there's still a natural side of humanity that causes you to fear the unknown. But if they are able to encourage you, keep that smile going, try to act like it's okay, even though they're experiencing the worst pain in the world sometimes. If they're able to fake it till they make it, you owe them something. You owe them to carry their legacy out a certain kind of way, guys. You know, in my situation, I cannot act like I cannot cry and shed tears in the same manner as someone who our mother was too strong. She was too classy.
Yes,
She didn't use her sickness as a me I thing. Even as she deteriorated, as her health deteriorated, it was always about her children, her grandchildren. And so and even if that's not necessarily your experience, still, guys, if your parent or your loved one, embraced what happened, no matter how tragic, no matter how it looks like, if they face that situation with a certain amount of fearlessness, then we owe their legacy a certain amount of respect. We owe their legacy to carry on what they represented here on earth at a certain level. And so to allow their passing, their transition to knock the wind out of our sail for months, years at a time, I think we're doing a disservice to their overall legacy. Especially if your family member was a fighter. If they were a go-getter, if they were the type that always wanted to see you smile, always wanted to see you laugh, always was looking to keep you on the right track, whatever the case may be, you owe them more, right? Because I guarantee you, like I said, like we said earlier, if they loved you, they want you in the best situation. And they want you representing them in the best situation. So to those who are still bereaved and that loss has you kind of stuck in a rut, I want you to sit down and process it. Think about what part of that transition hurts the most. And when you find it, I want you to cry your eyes out. And I want you to let it go. I want you to process it. I want you to cry. I want you to be as transparent with your emotions as you possibly can. And even those around you, tell them, hey, I'm finna boo-hoo for a day or two. And then I want you to wipe your eyes and I want you to stand up and I want you to represent their legacy in a way that makes them proud, because it's not about you. It's about them and how you're going to carry on their legacy and how you're going to represent them going forward. That's what will make their lives better. Shout out to Miss Janae Williams in the building. That's what would enhance your life. That's how their legacy is going to be put in a spotlight, by how you treat your fellow man going forward and how you respond to emotional inputs in your life, things you go through, right? How you bounce back out of situations, how you handle life's challenges. That's what that's what's gonna make their legacy make sense. And not to use this situation as an example, but to go from grieving to action. I know we're pleasing mom right now. I don't have to ask. I don't have to consider that, because my mom was about action, guys. She was about physical action. We can pray all day, but if a man is hungry, guess what we're finna do? Feed him. If a man or woman and those children are cold, guess what we're finna do? Put clothes on their back. So if we take the legacy of whoever the person is that we lost and actually put it into action, guys, Miss Debbie says mind over matter. We take that loss and take that energy and actually put it into action. Guys, you can turn their legacy into something that actually makes people's lives around you more enhanced. And the flip side of that, it will allow you to re-engage in your life, to have something to look forward to have something that brings your life meaning, richness, flavor, color, nuance, joy. That's what you guys do for me. So yes, sometimes it does get challenging, if you will. Around Thanksgiving, it was challenging for me. It was the first Thanksgiving without our best friend. But then we got right back on the bicycle. Shout to Golden Angel. She sent me a message that just really stuck out of the messages that I received. And I thank everybody who reached out. But Miss Golden Angel sent me a message, and it basically let me know that I was important to her and her journey, which snapped me out of what I was going through, got me out of my own head, and reminded me that this is about something bigger than me and how I feel. Now this is about your last name. Now this is about a legacy that I respect and that one day I hope I can match. And that's what your father would want from you, Miss Dawn. I believe that's what your friend would want with you, Miss Golden Angel. It sounds like you've done a wonderful job. And to our friends, Miss LaPree and others, Miss Sue, who've lost a spouse here recently, I believe that would be the message that our loved ones would want to see us do. They would want to see us engage and sharpen up the best parts of our personality. And we've been assembled here together, and each one of us have certain characteristics, guys. Each one of us have certain attributes. We're lovers. We're givers on this line. We're thoughtful people. We got some compassionate people on this line. We got some folks on this line that if we're not careful, we'll end up with the short end of the stick in just about every situation. I know that about you. And we've been assembled together for a certain reason. So as we go through life's trials and we deal with the things that we're dealing with, guys, let us continue to embrace the positive sides of what's going on with our personalities. Let us love again, engage again, become passionate about something again. That's what will make our loved ones happy, and that's what ultimately is going to pull you out of the slump you're in. You're going to have to engage again. You're going to have to find a mission. You're going to have to find something that you're passionate about. Something that allows you to take that emotion and gear it into a certain aspect of life, help somebody else. That's what's going to pull you out. If we just continue to sit around and rehash those old memories and think about how much we miss mom, think about how much we miss dad, and we curl up in that ball, guys, it's only going to get worse. Which is very similar to what happens on the depression side, which is very similar to if we're catching a cold and we do nothing about our immune system, guys. It's only going to continue to get worse. Have you ever seen a cold fix itself?
No.
It has to run its course, or you have to jump on it and do something to boost your immune system. The lemon, the honey, the vitamin C, the zinc, what did it come out? Go ahead.
Airborne.
Airborne.
Airborne. I was just about thank you. Very good, nephew. Exactly. Airborne. Now they got airborne. You can take it the first sign of a cold flu, you take that airborne and gets right onto it. It's the same concept in our grief, guys. It's the same concept in our depression. It's the same concept in our anxiety. We have to take control of the reins, or the horse is just gonna run, and the horse may run off the side of the cliff, guys. Amen.
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 All right. I take airborne daily. Shout out Miss Deb in the building. All right, guys. Is there anybody else in the chat? I'm going to ask the chat. Is there anybody else that wants to come up, talk about mental health, talk about bereavement? If you have something to add to the conversation, if you've lost a loved one, currently dealing with it, or have dealt with it, you can come up. Just put a 1 in the chat. And as you're thinking, if you're going to come up, I'm going to ask our panel members, is there anything else y'all would like to add to the depression aspect, the anxiety aspect, or the grief aspect of the conversation that we haven't covered tonight?
Okay, so I would have to say my grandma. She passed away when I was like, I believe I was 18 or 19. And I was really sad because I was close to my grandma, so it really hurted because she was battling stuff, and she basically had a heart attack. And I was like, wow. But she had other things going on with her as well, and I didn't want her to suffer. I'm like, and at the same time, I was like upset and then relieved because I didn't want her to see her suffering. And then, it was already bad. And I guess over time, I was like, I have to make sure, because I remember before she passed, she was like, I want you to graduate. I want you to enjoy your life. Don't stop your life. So I had, at the time, I think my son was like maybe 2 or 3, I believe, 4, something like that. So I was like, well, I think he was like 2. At the time, I was like, okay, I need to get myself together, even though I do miss her and it hurt. Because she was the main one who kept our family together. And when she passed, it was mostly like, it was a shock at the same time. But I had to figure out and do what I needed to do.
What was the last part, Miss Tiff? I didn't hear the last part.
No, that was it.
You said something. You said when she passed, it was a shock.
Yeah, it was a shock because more like I was hoping. I was just like, okay, maybe she could make it, but at the same time, she was like really sick.
Hmm.
So it, we kind of figured that she was going to pass, but I didn't think it would be like that soon. That's how I felt.
Very good. So, how long would you say it took you to get over that, or process that? Not get over it. I shouldn't say that. I should say um, process it and get back to like normal. I know it takes time, but how long would you say it took you?
It took a little minute because I'm not gonna even lie, because I used to wake up, have nightmares, and scream about my sleep and stuff. So it took a while for me to actually, process everything. And I was like, well, I have to, like I said, get better. I have to make better decisions because she is looking down over me and I don't want to disappoint her. That's what I always thought. I was like, she's still looking down on me. And I just took it one day at a time. And eventually, I still think of her when she tell me like certain things. I still think of that. And I'm like, well, I'm going to do the best I can. I'm going to do better than because I have to. I want to make sure that I'm doing good because I don't want to let her down.
Very good. Very good.
Man,
Man, good deal. Love that. Love that.
hey, bro, your sister want to tell you something. Happened last night. Hold on.
If if y'all have a family member, y'all know they need help, please take them. Don't let them just sit there without meds. Last night, my cousin, his wife knew that he needed to be at a hospital, but she wouldn't take him or whatever for whatever reason. But anyway, he shot himself in the head in front of his kids last night,
Mm.
and I feel like she
That is
knew that
so.
she knew he needed his meds. She could have called those people and had them come pick him up and let him stay in the hospital for a couple of weeks or whatever, however long it took for him to get the medicine in him, and he probably would still be here. So yeah, mental health is very important.
It is. It is, and I'm so sorry to hear that. Beyond sorry, and that's terrible. And thank you for sharing because perhaps someone in the chat or even up on the panel uh, will be helped by that. So thank you for sharing that. Um, it's gonna get. Let me say this, guys. As some of you may have noticed, shout out to Miss Dev. I was looking at her thought for the other day. Um, you're gonna see more of this, which is another reason why I'm bringing this up, guys, to as kind of like to give you some strength before you start facing even more chaos. Um, as you guys know, you know we're living in chaotic times. You're living in times where you know there's a lot of disinformation out there. So if you don't have a strong base, a strong lock on the truth, you could very easily be manipulated. I've seen people change literally in a month and be radicalized, go from a certain level of sane, being, sanity to talking to them a month later and they've been watching some videos and they're completely, I don't know who this person is anymore in terms of the mentality. And these things are going to get worse. And you're going to be bombarded with all types of things that you find troubling and shake you to your core. You're going to be let down. You're going to find out that you were lied to, or that you were that you know uh, institutions that
Bamboo.
you used to trust in, you can't even trust in them anymore. Um,
Mhm.
this is going to continue to happen, guys. I remember there was a time, I mean, it just happened like 2 or 3 years ago, where you could call your bank, and if you wanted to take out additional money out the ATM, you could just call them up and say, "Hey, I want you to raise my limit." Do you know they don't do that anymore? You cannot pull more than $1,000 out of a bank. Excuse me, out of a ATM. And even if you go try to pull, say, 10K out of your own bank account, if you happen to have that, if you're blessed enough to have that laying around, they are going to give you all kinds of hell about getting your own money, guys.
Yeah.
Loaned it up.
Are deep. I'm serious. They're going to ask you why you want your money. What are you going to use it for? They might even go into asking you how you got it. And these are institutions that you depend on. Um, thank you so much, Just Vicky. God bless you. Thank you for coming through. Much love to you. And so, guys, these things are going to happen, right? I'm telling you right now, they're going to happen on top of all the other things that we're facing and dealing with internally. So what am I saying to you? What am I saying to you guys? I'm saying work on yourself. Continue to work on yourself. Continue to stay engaged. You know, identify the problem and create a goal. And you say, okay, I know I'm just going to throw out an example. I know that I'm still depressed in this area of my life. This is what I'm going to do about it. I'm going to start meditating. I'm going to start reading. I'm working out, but I'm going to start reading why I need to work out and the areas of my body I really need to challenge. I'm going to start learning more about my diet, meaning I want to understand the minerals and vitamins and the nutritional benefits of the food I'm eating. I'm going to expand my mental territory, meaning I want to learn about new cultures. That's why me and Miss LaPree get along so well, guys. I tell y'all all the time, I'm like a ghetto anthropologist. I've been studying different cultures, both historic and ones walking around right now for years, guys. I'm extremely interested in that. Exploring new things, again, keeps the mind flexible. It keeps you from falling into certain narratives of certain belief systems that may or may not be the truth, right? So all of these different things, we got to get a plan about our situation. Once we have, once we have processed what it is, got a plan together about it, and start getting engaged on fixing the issue, right? Then we're headed somewhere. Then we're going somewhere. And that will keep us sane as the world around us continues to become more crazy by the day. That's my suggestion to you. And it's highly important. It's highly important that we heal ourselves as much as possible now, because it's only downhill from here in terms of the political climate, in terms of relations overall in America, etc., and around the world. And for some of you guys, it's such a blessing that you work the type of jobs that keep you totally engaged. And, you probably only have an hour or two to listen to all the crap that's going on out here. All right. But to people who are self-employed or business owners who basically are working with the news in the background all day, there's 3 dozen things that happen every day that's highly troubling. Or to our people that are retired, if you think in an hour you're listening to stuff that's crazy, try listening to the news on a 12 or 14-hour loop. It's horrifying.
Nope, can't do it.
And a lot of people can't do it. So the point I'm saying, guys, get it together. Get it together. Whatever it is, get it together, process it, get a plan together, and engage on that plan. Now, before we go, let's talk about again, what are the self-care things that all of us can do, guys? It doesn't take any money. All of us can exercise. This is coming from the top doctors on the subject. All of us can monitor and manage our sleep better. All of us can eat better. We talked about that. We talk about that all the time on the channel. Practice gratitude. We talk about that. The more you walking around thankful for the least bit of things, guys, the more that produces a better all sense of and quality of life. I mean, when you're thankful, you got heat in your house. You know what I mean? You got clean socks to put on, right? You have water to wash your hair, wash your body. All these things that many people take for granted, these are blessings, guys. And we need to remember the little things. It's not the big things. A lot of times you hear people talk, they go right to house and car. That's great. But think about all the other little things that we take for granted that really bring color and nuance to life. So let's be thankful for the little things, guys. And then lastly, the doctors recommend that we stay connected. I may not have a job, but I am thankful to be alive and have a place to live. Amen, Sister Williams. That's exactly right, guys. That's exactly right. Always look for the most positive situation. Anybody can find the negative. The negative is typically jumping out of us, slapping us in the face. But there's always, in every scenario that you can look at, there are going to be multiple little positives that come out of our most negative experience, right? And so we can never overlook them. And thank you for those comments. Again, we can look at relaxation techniques, breathing exercises, which we practice on the channel. Deep cleansing breaths are important not only to your physical health when we talk about the lymphatic system, but it's also important to your mental health, making sure that you're getting enough oxygen. Because if you think about it, when you're having an anxiety attack, what do? You're basically, your muscles clenched, your jawline is tight, and you're not breathing the way you need to breathe, which is literally, and I'm sorry, I'm not trying to use that word a lot. I'm trying to stop using that word. But it's the lack of oxygen is doubling down on the anxiety. It becomes a self loop, if you will. The lack of oxygen is keeping your body stressed out and making you even more stressed than you already are. So remember, breathing, yoga, to Miss Golden Angel's point earlier, meditation. And guys, meditation is not this big, complicated thing. It's not nothing that you have to go to India or Sri Lanka to figure out how to do, guys. It's very simple, quiet, inner thoughts, positivity, nice deep breaths, stretching, right? It's the release of endorphins. It's finding that special place that will allow you to relax and release those endorphins. Find that place in your mind that brings you pleasure and joy, and stay there and block out the other things that you don't need. And of course, music therapy. We can all listen to some soft jazz. We can listen to some classical music. If you watch me, typically that's what I have going. I have that going on in the car. I love classical music. It allows my mind to think. I see numbers, etc. when I'm making my calculations. I have some classical music going off in the background because it just stimulates thought, and it takes the mind to another place. So that's another suggestion. Ms. Deb says, first anxiety attack, thought I was having a heart attack. Yes, they can be very, very strong. And again, they build up, guys. My experience is when you have a strong or big anxiety attack, it's been there for quite some time. And we've been ignoring the symptoms and just stuffing it down till you can't anymore. Okay? Music therapy. Then they go on to talk about herbal supplements. You're missing something. You're missing key nutrients. You're missing key vitamins. These things have a big, we're talking about nervous system, guys. Your body needs certain things to operate at peak level or to operate, period. And if our diets are not right and we're not getting these nutrients whatsoever, then it's like not putting fuel in your gas tank. We're asking the car to do 75 miles an hour on the freeway, but it has no fuel. It doesn't have the right mixture. You know, gasoline is a science project, if you will. There's so many atoms to so many other atoms, and the proportion of oxygen to the fuel atoms is what makes the combustion happen. So if you're missing some atoms, guys, guess what? You don't have the right fuel mixture, and your car cannot operate at the level that it needs to be operating at. Herbal supplements, play games. And these guys, all this stuff is Google. Everything I'm talking about is Google. You can Google this stuff and know this stuff in 3 seconds. What are some good supplements to take for mental health? And you'll get a list of 20 different things. And basically what you do is you look at your diet, the things you've been eating in the last 5 days, and consider, is any of that stuff that's on this list and what you've been eating? And then you'll know if you have the right fuel going into your body or not. All right? Play games. Keep the mind inquisitive. Keep the mind guessing. Keep the mind engaged. Keep yourself thinking about different things. Don't sit there and wallow in whatever you don't have, right? Or whatever's going on that troubles you. Get out a card game. Get out a game out on your phone and switch it up and give your mind some other things to challenge you and to think about. Once again, reading. Reading is so important. Reading is fundamental. Like they said when we were children, reading, guys. Reading keeps the brain soft, keeps fresh information going into your mind. We said earlier, challenge yourself to know one new word a week, even if you have to go to another language, right? Find new words. If you got to learn a different language, that's good because it makes the mind think, and you get the processes that you're looking for that'll make you feel better. Laugh, finally. Laugh, 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 laugh. It's good. It's good. My brother's almost an expert on this. He's a follower of comedians, especially back in the day. Some of our old comedians. He loves Bill Burr and many others. I mean, he's a big comedian guy. It's very important that you keep a sense of humor, guys. It's very important that you laugh through the pain. And once again, YouTube is an awesome resource, guys. In 3 minutes or less, you can find a catalog of your favorite comedian or comedian's content. Watch the content. It'll change your mood instantly. And finally, cry. Don't be afraid to cry. Again, cry, emote, get it out, let it pass, and then get up, process it, and get a plan of action together and get it done. And remember, guys, no harm in this. Get you an accountability partner. Get you an accountability partner that goes to community. Tell somebody. They don't even have to be a friend. This will be an awesome time. Somebody in this group, right? And say, Miss Tiffany, I pick you as my accountability partner. Golden Angel, would you be my accountability partner? Miss Debbie, would you be my accountability partner? This is what I got going on. During a 5-day week, I'm depressed 20, 30, 40 hours out the week. I want to change that. I'm going to do this, that, and the third. Can you send me a message every day to make sure I'm doing what I'm supposed to do? And I don't think anybody in this group would be too busy to do that for you. To reach out and say, hey, have you read today? Have you prayed today? Have you done anything about your mental health today? Just to remind you, just to hold you accountable so that you don't get caught in the same rut that you've been in. Use your community, guys. Use your friends. Again, nobody's going to tell your business. Nobody's trying to see through you. Folks are trying to see you through. Folks are trying to get their own self better. They're trying to benefit, so it works for you and them. Y'all can be each other's accountability partner. I'm struggling with anxiety. Well, I'm struggling with depression. I'm struggling with grief from losing a family member. Be each other's accountability partner. That way you don't find yourself burning up a week, 2 weeks, a month, 6 months, and you look up and life has passed you by. So these are all just little things. And guys, I know sometimes my voice, I might sound like I'm being but I want to be direct, and I want you guys to know I'm serious. And these things can help you. Now, if I've said anything tonight that was triggering or that hurt your feeling, like we always say around this time, charge it to my head and not my heart. Everything that I've said tonight was in the interest of seeing you become the best person that you can absolutely be. To heal from your hurts, your pains, your issues, and to be the best person that you can be. That's our only mission over here. We don't ask you for anything. I wouldn't dare take anything from you. All I want to see you do is be the best person you can be. I want to see you smile. I want to see you engaged. I want to see you love again. I want to see you passionate about certain things again. I want to see you engaged with things, with life and the fullness of life again. Okay? That's my reward in this situation. So please accept what we're saying, apply it, and let's move to the next level. All right, we're done with that part of it. Tomorrow, you can rest, sleep in, no workout, let those muscles rest. Watch you a comedian show, read the Bible, do some studying of different unique cultures around this world. Watch you some Animal Planet, some animal documentaries. Change it up. Do something that you haven't done in a while and give that brain some stimulation. Your brain's going to be like, what is this? What you watching? Oh, I didn't know I like this. This is interesting. That kind of thing, guys. Feed that brain, say your prayers, read some new stuff, and really challenge the brain, and let's get active. Anything else from our panel? Anybody else want to speak on in the chat before we close out with prayer?
Yes. So I won't be relaxing tomorrow because I have to work from 12 to 5. So I'm going to be working, and probably I think the game is going to be on. I'm probably working and watching a game at my job. So I won't be relaxing. If I could do that, that'd be nice.
I know it. I'm sorry to hear that. Go have the game on. Which game you gonna watch?
I don't know if the Chiefs playing, but the Chiefs game I'm watching.
There is but one game on now, right?
Right, like the Chiefs. I hope they win.
Very good, very good. Well, we'll definitely reach out to you and say hello. Y'all reach out to Miss Tiff as she's doing her job tomorrow. And Miss Williams says, that's right, go Chiefs. All right. Very, very good. So happy that you joined us tonight, Miss Williams. Very, very good. And thank you for your comments. Really appreciate that. All right, panel, is there anything else you want to say tonight?
I'm just thankful for this group. This has really brought me a long ways in my exercise, my physical, and my mental. So thank y'all.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We love you. There's absolutely nothing you can do about it. I have a feeling that going forward, you're going to have more than one person checking on you, making sure that we're making progress. You're going to get a couple of accountability partners out of this, Miss Donna. Definitely.
Well, I appreciate it. I've just got to learn to not look at the past and kind of look for not even my future, because I'm not even promised that, but, just take each day as it comes and just keep working harder and harder. And when the devil starts, clicking in your head and starts whispering in your ear, just kind of like punch him in the face and move on.
There you go. And let me remind the people, Miss Dunn, you're 71 years old?
No, 61.
Okay.
71. Oh, please. I don't even want to be 61. Come on now.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I was like, I heard that wrong. I was going to say, you are the youngest sounding 71-year-old I've ever seen in my life.
I'm like,
and you
no.
don't look nowhere near 60 either. But
well,
yeah, I was having a problem with that. I'm like, she's 35. Man.
Oh. Sure, I have a problem with 61.
But straight up, between your voice and just how you communicate, you sound like you younger than me. So there's so many things that we should be proud of, right?
Oh yeah, definitely good genes. I am very thankful and grateful that I got some good genes from my mama's side. Amen. I'm thankful because a lot of people don't think I'm 61, which is a blessing. I'll take 50 any day, but
There
61,
you go.
whoo, that's a hard pill to swallow sometimes. But it's okay.
Yeah,
I'm blessed
yeah.
to see 61.
There you go. Absolutely, absolutely. And you get plenty of comments down in the comment section. My brother Lee, talk to me. Or
Yeah, yeah.
mhm.
What's
Go ahead.
going on, man? Nah, I
Yeah,
enjoyed the subject that you had on here tonight. It was pretty good. All good. And I'm gonna watch one of the Animal Planets or something to like. You know
there
that.
you go. There
Or
you go.
Lavelle Crawford or somebody. That's a comedian.
There you go. Lavelle Crawford.
Yeah,
There
yeah,
you
yeah.
go.
If y'all get
Anybody
a
else?
chance, watch Lavelle
Who's
Crawford
your
when he talk about
favorite?
the grocery store. Talk about your mama.
There you go. Who's your favorite comedian or comedian, Golden Angel? And in the chat, tell me who your favorite comedian is.
You know, I have too many to count. I don't know. I love watching comedians.
Just
Peter, I can't remember his last name.
Peter. Okay.
It's Peter. I can't remember his last name for the life of me right now. I'm sorry.
No. I put you on the spot. I think, yeah. Okay. Okay. I'm thinking of a name too, related to that
Russell.
Peter.
Maybe it's Russell Peters. Maybe that's his name.
Russell Peters. Okay. Okay.
David
Who?
Chappelle.
Who?
David Chappelle.
David
David
Chappelle. Yeah.
Chappelle. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
He
Can't
did a
go
funny
wrong with
one
David
the
Chappelle.
other day on Balloon Pop. Man, that
I
joke was
know.
funny.
That was
He a
hilarious. That was
pimp.
hilarious. I cannot believe. Can y'all believe something that was on YouTube 6 months ago made it to SNL? It's
Yeah.
absolutely crazy. She says, I don't have one. I really don't watch comedy. Okay, very good. Very good. Okay. Anybody else? Your favorite comedian? All right. All right. All right. Again, guys, can't wait to see you on Monday. We're gonna have a good workout on Monday. We're gonna punch it out on Monday. We're gonna start with the punches again. Gonna really get into the strength side and some good cardio this week. So come in stretched out and ready to go. As we always do around this time, we want to close in a word of prayer. And so, again, thank you so much for coming through. Thanks so much for the folks in the chat for your comments and for your responses. You guys really add flavor to everything that we do. It's 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. So it'll be 8 o'clock for you. But yeah, 7 o'clock Central Standard Time. We work out for about, really, it's been going a little bit longer, but it's typically about 40 minutes, 40, and sometimes we go a little bit longer. But everything you can do right from the comfort of your own home. And if you have some small weights, 3 pounds to 8 pounds, that's perfect. Just to give you some resistance, break a little sweat. And as you can see, everybody is positive. We have a real good time supporting each other. And it's just a real good time. We got some folks who lost some weight, definitely getting some definition and shape. And if nothing else, it's just keeping you active, keeping you moving. And so it's a beautiful thing. We'd love to have you, Miss Williams. And anybody else in the chat, we'd love to have you. All you have to do, if we're not friends, send a friend request and set your notifications so that when we go live, you can join us and the rest of the team. We'd love to have you guys. The more, the merrier. All right. Well, I think that just about covers it all. Again, I can't thank you guys enough. I'm absolutely humbled by your presence. And man, it just gets better and better every time. Let us go to the Father in prayer. Heavenly Father, once again, you've been so gracious and kind to us to allow us to assemble, allow us to share our experiences and our life's journey. Lord, some of us are strong, but we might be weak next week, and some of us are weak right now. They might be strong next week, Lord. So just allow iron to sharpen iron. Allow us to continue to support each other through all that life throws our way. Lord, we thank you for our family members and friends that have transitioned. We thank you for their memories and what they represent to our lives. And we pray that we just continue to represent them in the best light and hold their legacy up before men so that folks know who we've been around and whose we are. Uh, Father, we thank you for the folks down in the chat and for anybody that's going through certain challenges, folks dealing with the loss of friends, loss of jobs, getting backstabbed, that they misused, some were in abusive relationships, whatever those situations were, Lord, we pray that you allow us to see the positive in it, because we know that we don't go through things just for no reason. Everything you do is for a purpose, and it's there to guide us and strengthen us and show us that you're with us. So we thank you again. Thank you for the peace that passes all understanding. Thank you for a joy. It's not based on money or things, but it's based on the fact that we know you and the pardon of our sins. We give you glory, we give you honor, and we thank you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Amen. God bless you guys. Sorry.
God bless. Love you, family. Good night.
Love you guys. Good night.
Love you guys. Good night.
Good night. Good night to all. Did I answer your question, Miss Williams? 7 p.m. Central Standard Time? Okay. Good. I just want you okay. Good deal. All right. Good night, everybody. Thank you so much. Much love to each and every one of y'all, and I will see you on Monday. Enjoy your Sunday. Enjoy it. Talk to you soon. Bye, big brother. Love you, man.
Love you too, boy.
Miss Sue. Have a good night. Much love. Thank you so much. Love y'all. Good night.